Hello and welcome to this new video tutorial of default Magento 2. In today's video tutorial, we'll be checking out the users and roles in the default Magento 2. So when your store is first installed, the default admin account is created with login credentials that give you full administrative access. As a best practice, you should create another user account with full administrative access. That way you can use one account for your everyday administrative activities and reserve the other as a super admin account. This can be helpful if you forget your regular credentials or somehow they become unusable. If there are other users in your team who need access, you can create a separate user account for each and assign restricted access based on their needs. So to give someone restricted access to the admin panel, the first step is to create a role that has the appropriate level of permissions. After the role is saved, we can add a new user and assign the restricted role to grant them limited access to the admin backend panel. So in today's video tutorial, we'll be checking out the permissions section in the default Magento 2, and we'll be seeing how to define a role, how to assign a role to a particular user that we have created, and then we'll be seeing how that particular user would be able to access the admin panel with the restricted access there. But before I proceed further with this particular video tutorial today, please do subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to receive the latest updates from our end. And if you find this particular video helpful, then do kindly give it a thumbs up. So the very first thing that I want to show you is how we can define a role, and then we'll see how we can assign a role to a particular user. So for that, let me take you to the Magento 2 default backend panel, and let's log into the admin backend panel by entering the username, password, and tapping on the sign in button thereafter. Okay, so let me enter the details here once again, and let me hit the enter button thereafter. So after we have successfully logged into the admin backend panel there, what we need to do is we need to go to the side panel option, that is system, and under system we have the permissions. So under permissions we have all users, locked users, and user roles. Under locked users we'll find the complete list of users who have been locked. For example, if a user who has the admin backend panel access tries to log into the admin backend panel with a wrong password or a wrong username 5 times or 6 times, then the user would be logged and the user would not be able to log into his account panel. So all of those users would be listed under the locked users section. Then we have the all users. Here you'll be able to create the different users that would be able to log into the admin backend panel with different access permissions. And under the user roles, you'll be able to create the access permissions basically that can be assigned to the users that you have created under the all users section. So the very first thing that we'll do is we'll create a particular user role, and to do so what I'll do is I'll just tap here on the user roles. So we'll be creating a user role. Right now you can see that we have an administrator user role that we have created that is having all access permissions. And to add a new role, what I'll do is I'll tap here on the add new role button, and that will bring up the section to create a new role. So here we have the role information, wherein we have to give the role info and we have to assign the resources to this particular role. So for this demonstration, we'll be providing the dashboard, availability access, and the sales access to this particular user role that we are going to create. And we are not going to provide any other access like catalog, customers, carts, my account, marketing, content, or be design, reports, or marketing, reviews, sales, customers, products, statistics, stores, etc. So we'll just be providing the limited access to the dashboard and to the sales section, wherein he'll be able to see the dashboard, and the user to whom this particular user role would be assigned to would be able to do the operations like create, view, reorder, etc. for the orders there itself. So he'll be able to manage the complete orders section and would be able to view the complete dashboard there. So under the role resources, before coming to the role resources, let's give the role info with the role name. Let's set it as dashboard and sales section access role. Here I'll give the current user identity verification. That means the current user or the admin that has been is logged in right now and who is creating this particular role. For his account, we have to provide his password, so I'll provide his password. Then I'll come down to the role resources. Here I'll give the access permissions or the resources that I want to assign to this role. So I'll be giving the dashboard access and the sales access to this particular role. So here the name also defines the same, dashboard and sales section access role, and I'll tap here on the save role button. After I've saved the role would be saved. As you can see, dashboard and sales section access role. If I now open this particular role, you'll see that one more section with the name role users would also be available here. So if I've already created a particular user, then I can assign this particular role to that particular user from this particular section by selecting that user and here giving my identity password, selecting the user and tapping here on the save role. The other way to go around this is first we'll create the role, then we'll create the user, and while creating the user we'll select the particular role that we have created. So we'll see this one in which we are going to create the role first, then we are creating the user, and then while creating the user we are assigning the particular role that we have created to that particular user that we are going to create. So for now, let's go back. So that's how we can easily create or we can define a particular role. So we have defined a role that is having the access to the dashboard and the sales section only. So we have given the name as well, dashboard and sales section access role, with the resources as dashboard and the sales section only. Now to assign a role to a user, what I'll do is I'll again go to system and then I'll go to all users. Here I'll be creating a particular user by tapping here on the add new user button on the top right hand corner, and that will bring up the new user section where we have the user information that includes the user info and the user role. Now if I go to the user role, here you can see that we have the dashboard and the sales section access role available here for selection for this particular user that is going to be created by us. So I'll give the name to the username for the new user, for example Smith. So this would be the username while he is going to log into the admin backend panel. So I'll set it as Smith, then I'll set the first name, last name of the user, his email address, and I'll set the password for his account. So let me set that up. The interface would be English United States. The account is active. If you want that the account should expire at a certain date, you can select that up as well. Until that date, the account access would be accessible, and after that date the access would not be granted to that particular user. Then I'll enter the current user identity verification. So I'll enter the password for the main admin here. Then I'll go to user roles and I'll select the dashboard and sales section access role. So I've given the username, first name, last name, email, password. The account is active, given the main admin password here, and I'll tap here on the save user button thereafter. So the new user would be created with the resource role that we have assigned to him, and he'll be able to log into the admin backend panel and would be able to access only those resources that have been assigned to this particular user. So here you can see that Smith at webcool.com, and the role is dashboard and sales section access role, and the status is active for this particular user. Now if I log out of the admin backend panel here, you'll be able to see that we'll be able to log into the Smith account by entering the username, that was Smith, and the password was entered by me, and then I'll tap here on the sign in button. Now as soon as we have logged in, we'll be able to see the two resources that we had assigned to this particular user, that were the dashboard and the sales. So here we have the dashboard access, and here we have the sales, where we have the access, complete access to the orders, invoices, shipments, credit memos, billing agreements, transactions, and the Braintree virtual terminal as well. And here you can see that Smith has been logged in right now. If I want, I can sign out, or if I want, I can manage the orders, invoices, shipments, credit memos as per the requirement there. And this particular user would only be able to access the dashboard and the sales section there. So let me log out of this particular customers or the users account there, and let's log in back to the main admin, and let's sign in to the main admin who has the complete access or the full administrative access rights. So here we have on the side panel, you can find we have complete access to all of the resources there for the store. So I hope that this particular video helped you out in understanding the users and the roles in Magento, how to create the users or how to create the roles with the limited access permissions, and how to assign the roles to the users, and how the users would be then able to log into the admin backend panel with the limited resource there for the roles that have been assigned to those particular users, and how they can access those resources very easily, and how the admin can do the same by logging into the admin backend panel, and how he can go to the system and user roles but to create the roles, all users to create all users, and then how the created user would be able to log into the admin backend panel and access the limited resources that have been set up for his user account there. So yes, that was much about the users and roles in Magento 2, and I hope that this particular video helped you out in understanding the same. If you still have any questions, queries, suggestions or requirements, then you can anytime get back to us at support@webcool.com, or you can raise a ticket at webcool.huidesk.com as well. Apart from that, if you find this particular video helpful, then do kindly give it a thumbs up. And lastly, thanks for watching this particular video, and have a great day ahead.